The sun hung high in a cloudless sky, casting a golden glow over the bustling Los Angeles International Airport. Travelers hurried through the terminals, their wheeled suitcases clattering against the polished floors, coffee cups in hand, and eyes glued to departure boards. Among the throng of people, 17-year-old Leila Thompson stood out, not just for her towering height, but for the quiet determination in her stride. Dressed in simple track pants, a hoodie, and sneakers, she carried herself with a confidence that seemed almost out of place for someone her age. It was a confidence inherited from her father, Marcus Thompson, a man whose name carried weight in the world of professional basketball. But here, in the chaos of the airport, few recognized her. To most, she was just another teenager, navigating the complexities of air travel. Leila was on her way to a youth basketball camp in New York, a chance to prove herself on the court and carve out her own identity. She had always been known as Marcus Thompson's daughter, and while she loved her father dearly, she was determined to earn respect on her own terms. As she stepped out of the black SUV that had dropped her off, she took a deep breath, clutching her ticket and passport tightly. The nerves were there, bubbling just beneath the surface, but she pushed them aside. This was her moment. The check-in counter was relatively quiet, with only a short line forming. Leila approached the desk, sliding her documents across to the bored-looking clerk, a woman named Karen. Karen barely glanced at the papers before her eyes flicked up to Leila's tall frame and casual attire. "Where to?" she asked in a monotone voice. "New York," Leila replied softly, her face calm. "One bag to check?" Karen asked, already rolling her eyes as she scanned the ticket. Her expression shifted slightly when she noticed the class of the seat. "This is a business class ticket," she remarked flatly. Leila nodded. "Yes, that's correct." Karen's lips pursed, and she looked Leila up and down, her eyebrows raised. "These tickets are expensive, you know." Leila's posture tensed, but she forced a polite smile. "I know. It's mine." Karen blinked, unimpressed. "We can't just let anyone claim business class. Let me see some ID again." Leila quietly handed over her driver's license, her cheeks warming as Karen scrutinized it for what felt like an eternity. Finally, Karen exhaled and shoved the boarding pass across the counter. "Fine, I guess it checks out. Gate B14, boarding in an hour." Leila took the pass, trying not to dwell on the clerk's condescending tone. She told herself to stay calm. This was just the first hurdle. With her luggage checked, she moved on to security, where the next challenge awaited. The TSA lines were long but moving steadily. Families with strollers, business travelers scrolling through their phones, and tourists with oversized carry-ons filled the space. Leila queued up, placing her backpack in a bin and stepping through the scanner. Halfway through, a TSA officer barked, "Ma'am, step aside. We need additional screening." Leila frowned but complied, stepping aside politely. "Is something wrong?" "No, just a random check," the agent said, though his eyes flicked over her with a hint of doubt. He waved over another agent, who began rummaging through her bag. They pulled out her sneakers, a rolled-up jersey, notebooks, and basketball gear. One of the agents smirked slightly. "Basketball camp, huh?" "That's right," Leila said quietly. "I'm heading to a camp in New York." The agent nodded, unsmiling. "Next time, consider arriving earlier. This might take a while." Leila's chest tightened with annoyance, but she folded her arms and endured the prolonged search. Eventually, they let her go after unpacking everything and swiping for explosives. 20 minutes of extra hassle for no apparent reason. She restuffed her bag, biting back the urge to ask if they always singled out tall teenagers. As she neared her gate, her phone buzzed. A text from her father. "How's it going, kiddo? Need anything?" Leila typed back quickly. "All good, Dad. Thanks." She didn't want to worry him. This was her journey, and she wanted to handle it on her own. But her troubles weren't over yet. Approaching Gate B14, she noticed a cluster of airline staff, including a man in a blazer with a name tag that read, "Gregory, supervisor." He stared at her as she approached, then strode forward, arms crossed. "Excuse me, miss," he said curtly. "We've received information that your seat may have been issued incorrectly. Could I see your boarding pass again?" Leila extended the pass, controlling her frustration. Gregory studied it for a moment, frowning. "Business class? That's unusual for someone your age." He looked pointedly at her casual outfit. "You traveling alone?" "Yes, alone," Leila replied, forcing a calm tone. My father got the ticket for me. She hesitated, not wanting to name-drop her dad, but feeling cornered. Gregory shrugged dismissively. Well, the system flagged it. We can't allow you to board unless we verify payment details. What do you mean, flagged it? Leila asked, her patience wearing thin. I paid. I have the confirmation email on my phone. Gregory held up a hand. We need more than your word. He turned to an agent behind him and muttered, Let's take her to the side. The agent nodded, gesturing for Leila to follow them away from the main boarding area. Her pulse pounded. This was too much. She complied, cursing under her breath as they led her to a small nook near a closed coffee kiosk. Gregory demanded to see her credit card, the phone with the flight information and matching ID. Leila's face burned with embarrassment as passersby glanced curiously at the scene. Who is the cardholder? Gregory asked, his eyes narrowing as he examined the information. Marcus Thompson, Leila replied, her voice steady. He's my father. Gregory blinked, then a sneer curved his lip. Oh, so you're claiming you're Marcus Thompson's daughter? He peered at her skeptically. Nice try. Leila stared at him, stunned. I'm not claiming anything. It's the truth. Gregory shook his head. You kids come up with all sorts of stories. Look, miss, we can't accept this. I'll have to void your ticket. Leila's jaw dropped. You can't do that. I have a valid reservation. Gregory smirked, shrugging. We have the right to deny boarding if we suspect fraud. That's airline policy. He motioned to the agent. Escort her out. If it's real, let the real cardholder come here himself to fix it. That was the final blow. The agent took her arm, guiding her forcibly toward the terminal exit. Leila's eyes stung with tears of humiliation. She pulled out her phone, frantic. Her father had insisted she call him if something went wrong. It was time to make that call. He picked up almost immediately. Leila? What's wrong? Dad, her voice shook. They're kicking me out of the airport. They think my ticket is fake. They won't let me board. On the other end, Marcus Thompson's deep voice resonated with immediate concern. What? I'm on my way, kiddo. Stay put. Leila exhaled, relief flooding through her. They're forcing me out to the curb near baggage claim. She managed before the agent glared, indicating she had to move along. Please hurry, she whispered. They escorted her out of the secure area, ignoring her pleas until they reached a side exit that led to the arrivals area. Passersby watched, some filming on their phones, uncertain what was happening. The staff parted, leaving her standing by the sliding doors, her boarding pass confiscated. Leila felt humiliated, tears rolling down her cheeks. She refused to let them see her cry, turning away and texting her location to her dad. Minutes ticked by like hours. Finally, a black SUV screeched to a halt at the curb. The tall figure stepping out was instantly recognizable. Marcus Thompson, the NBA legend, dressed in a casual tracksuit but exuding an unmistakable presence. Heads turned, and a buzz rippled through the crowd. Marcus spotted his daughter and strode over, towering above the staff. Leila, you okay? He asked softly, resting a giant hand on her shoulder. She nodded tearfully, hugging him. He then faced the staff, anger evident in his dark eyes. Someone want to explain why you're throwing my daughter out? Gregory, the supervisor, approached with forced composure. Sir, we had reason to believe her ticket was purchased fraudulently. She claimed you were her father. Marcus's brow shot up. Claimed? He looked from Gregory to the other staff, then back to Leila, whose cheeks burned. She told you who I am, and you called her a liar? Gregory gulped. These policies, we need verification. Marcus raised a hand for silence. Verification, huh? More like you harassed and humiliated her for no good reason. He stared down at them, frustration lacing every syllable. You could have checked my contact info with one phone call. Instead, you kicked her out. That's how you treat passengers? The agent stammered. We have the right. Marcus's powerful voice cut through. The right to discriminate? The right to call a young black woman a liar because you don't believe she can afford business class? My name is on that ticket. You want proof? You have it now. So let's handle this properly. A crowd had formed, phones lifted, capturing the tense scene. One by one, the staff realized they'd made a colossal error. Marcus's reputation as a kind but no-nonsense figure preceded him, and they now saw the potential PR disaster. Gregory attempted a weak apology. We're sorry for the inconvenience, Mr. Thompson. Please step inside and we'll... Marcus folded his arms, towering overhead. Not so fast. My daughter's flight leaves soon. We need her boarding pass back and a real apology. Then we'll see if we proceed. Gregory flushed, quickly producing the confiscated pass. Of course, sir. So sorry. We'll escort her to the gate. No more trouble. Marcus took the pass, handing it to Leila. Apologize to her directly. Not me. His voice was quiet but firm. Gregory turned to Leila, his face red. I'm sorry, Miss Thompson. We misunderstood. Leila pressed her lips tight, nodding slightly. Marcus guided her inside, ignoring the stares. She stuck close to him, relief and lingering humiliation mixing as the staff stumbled over themselves to lead them to a special service desk. A senior manager greeted them with effusive apologies, quickly reissuing her boarding pass, confirming her seat, and insisting they escort her through expedited security. Meanwhile, passengers recognized Marcus, snapping photos from afar, though no one dared approach for autographs in the tense atmosphere. Leila gave her father a thankful look as they walked. I'm sorry, she murmured. I wanted to handle it alone. His big hand squeezed her shoulder gently. You did your best, kiddo. This was their mistake, not yours. Don't apologize for that. At the gate, staff practically fell over themselves offering free upgrades or lounge passes. Marcus waved them off, making it clear what they really wanted was an apology for the disrespect shown. The manager stammered out a final regretful apology. We assure you, Miss Thompson, we'll investigate the incident thoroughly. Leila sighed. I appreciate it. Just treat people better. That's all I want, for no one else to go through this. Before she boarded, Marcus pulled her into a brief hug. Text me the moment you land, okay? Don't let this overshadow your camp. Show them your skills. She nodded, tears threatening again, though now from gratitude. Thanks, Dad. I'll make you proud. Stepping onto the plane, Leila inhaled deeply, her shoulders relaxing as she found her seat. She ignored the curious gazes, slowly letting her heart settle. She was on her way to chase her basketball dreams, despite the fiasco. Yes, the memory stung, but she wouldn't let it define her. The man who had once stood 6'9", dominating NBA courts, had arrived to defend his daughter. And in doing so, he reminded the world that no one should be judged by appearances or doubted for occupying space they rightfully earned. Leila spent the week at the basketball camp, nailing drills and surprising coaches with her skill. If any tension lingered from the airport fiasco, she channeled it into each jump shot, each layup. In a way, the adversity only sharpened her resolve. At the camp's final scrimmage, she played with heart, earning a standing ovation from coaches. That night, she texted her dad, "Today was great. We did it." His reply came swiftly. "Proud of you, kiddo. Bigger than basketball." Yes, bigger than basketball. Bigger than prejudice or assumptions. Leila carried that lesson forward, determined never to let anyone doubt her place in the world again.